Welcome back to the 305K. I'm Tucker Hobart. We had big news breaking in the world of motorsport this morning. I'm here to break it down for you. The 11th team set to join the grid, Cadillac, just announced their two-driver lineup for the 2026 season, and it goes as follows. Leading off, we have Sergio Perez, the guy who was axed from Red Bull just last year due to a lack of performance. But over his career, his statistics are still pretty strong. He has 6 wins, 39 podiums, and 3 poles in 281 starts and 1,638 points over a long 14-year, what's going to be now a 15-year career. Alongside him, Valtteri Bottas, who has even more success, 10 wins, 67 podiums, 20 poles, over 246 starts, and 1,797 points. He's also been in the sport a long time, 12 years. These two are going to provide a lot of experience to this young team, and I think that going into the season, the team didn't want to have to deal with a rookie team alongside a rookie driver or two. It provides a lot of stability to have these old drivers in here to set the tone, get the team introduced to the sport before going to younger drivers and trying to succeed at a higher level. Both these drivers did drive for high-level teams, Perez with Red Bull, Bottas with Mercedes, but before that they were succeeding at lower-level teams, Perez at Force India and Bottas with Williams. They know what they have to do in a smaller car near the back of the grid, and likely we'll see less incidents than we would have had with a younger driver core. The team is also probably looking to avoid the issue of settling in a rookie, where the first few races are likely to be dicey. But at the same time, it does worry me a little bit. Both of these drivers have been out of the sport for a year and probably need a little bit of time to get settled again. But overall, the risk between these two drivers is likely lower than it would have been with a younger guy. Additionally, Sergio Perez is known for the fact that he's going to provide great marketing for the team, and it works with their brand. He is from Mexico. He's from North America, just like Cadillac. And while I think a lot of Cadillac fans were hoping for a US-based driver, Sergio Perez is a great alternative and will provide a lot of income for the team as they grow. Overall, this lineup is really strong considering where the team is. And yes, it's an older lineup, but when you look down the stats, they have the second most points out of any team on the grid right now, only to Ferrari. And between the two drivers, they've proven success, which is the most important thing for a new team settling in. On the other hand, the lineup does seem to provide a strict ceiling where we know what these drivers can produce, but we also know that they're not going to be world championship level. And if this car is very decent, that we know that they won't be able to reach the level of some of the other teams. Additionally, like I said, there was a lot of hope that a US driver would return to the grid for the first time since Logan Sargent in 2024. And that obviously has not worked out. And there aren't that many options for which that would have been possible. So it's not a huge surprise, but it is a little bit of a disappointment as a US-based Cadillac fan or Cadillac supporter. The signing of these two older veterans also passes up on young options that were available. There were talks about Felipe Drugovich and Alex Dunn. Additionally, there were talks with people who have had a little bit of experience as a young driver in F1 before being pushed out, like Jack Doohan and Mick Schumacher. Those obviously didn't work out, and we are left with two drivers where we know what they can do, but we know what, like I said, they cannot do. Where Mick Schumacher, there was a lot of hope that he would get a return and be able to prove himself following his quick dismissal from Haas a few years ago. The out-of-the-box option was Colton Herta, who currently drives IndyCar. There was a certain amount of talk and speculation around whether or not he would join Cadillac. Unfortunately, he cannot drive F1 currently because his super license doesn't have the required points to drive in F1. It's a very complicated system, but essentially different racing leagues have different requirements on what you're essentially a super license, a driver's license for competitive racing. And his super license didn't have the required status to drive F1. There has been a lot of talk about the switch from IndyCar to F1, especially considering the speculation last year of Andretti joining the grid. That obviously flared out and we got Cadillac instead. But there's always been rumors circulating about who wants to switch from IndyCar to F1, whether they could succeed, whether or not that they could compete with the best drivers. And it's just another example of that not working out here. I think getting Bottas and Perez is a really strong result for Cadillac. It's a very stable introduction into the sport where they don't have to worry about these two drivers really, really struggling for pace. They don't need to worry too much about these guys putting it into the wall. Sure, there'll probably be a few incidents as the team gets settled, but it won't be a huge, huge undertaking of damage costs like we saw with the team, for example, as Williams last year, where both of their drivers struggled with a little bit of lack of experience putting the car on the wall in situations where it really shouldn't have been an issue. I think that Cadillac did what they needed to do. They got their two guys, and it all kind of worked out for them because they were both dropped last year. And I think that once these contracts expire, they'll start to look to younger drivers. They'll start to look to F2. But currently, I think it's more important to find a driver who will get the team settled than anything else. And that is exactly what they did. Thank you all for watching. This was just a quick episode to go over the recent news, more of a reaction than anything else. The full episode 2 is going to be out following this later this week. Make sure to tune in. Jackson and I will be talking about our Dutch Grand Prix predictions as that race comes up. We're really excited for episode 2 to come out. So thank you for watching and stay tuned.